Welcome back to In Frame Brooklyn. Charlie from Brooklyn Films here, and welcome back to our travel log part 2, The Great White North. Um, so we got a lot more of BTS, more story. After Ithaca, I had the ADL conference at the Javits Center, so we got BTS from that. I got interviews from that. It was huge. It was 2 days. I had a journalism pass at the Javits. It was really cool. Great stuff. And then after that, the drive to Canada. Canada was interesting and long. I was there for 9 days. We got 10 interviews. We were at a bunch of synagogues, and a lot of BTS for that, so you're going to see that. And then a quick jaunt down to Philadelphia to interview Ben Freeman. There's a little bit of BTS for that, but the footage is great. You're going to see the footage. The footage is really what it's all about. And then after that was a one-day conference in Manhattan called Unite Against Extremism, and I got really good footage from that. You're going to see that as well. And that's all going to be right after this. The first thing we did was the ADL conference. I got a lot of BTS, so I'm just going to let that speak for itself, and I will comment as we go. So we can start with this. So, made it to the Javits Center for the ADL conference, which I will post after the conference for security reasons. But it's great. I'm here. I got my V2 and my SAC. Going to be using both. Working out of the V2 in my little spot over here to do interviews. I'll be using the SAC to sort of go all over the conference and shoot handheld. So that's it. We're here. We're good. Got my little press pass. Whee! So I'm all set up. I got the camera set up for a run and gun with the 35 to 105. And for my sit-down interviews, I think I'm going to pull out the 35. There's not enough space to use the 85. So we'll see. Sometimes even I make mistakes. So I have two 35 to 105s that I got on eBay, the Canon FDs, and I brought the wrong one. This one, the glass was completely fogged. So I wound up just using my iPhone for the BTS, for behind the scenes on the first day. I brought the 24 to 105 for the BTS on the second day, and then I just used the 35 millimeter 7 Artisans for all the sit downs, which look great. And we'll get into that after this. Back to the video. So I'm at the conference. We got some really good interviews this morning, and I've got the camera rolling right now inside the big conference room, which I can do. Come outside and get coffee while it's rolling. So far so good. I'm using the Canon FD 70 to 200 for the conference, and it's a good shot. Not too far away. I got the camera up on the riser, so it's all good. I'm looking in the wrong place. It's all good. Bye. So speaking of the 7 Artisans 35 millimeter infinite cine lens, I sat these people down. You can see where I was set up with their backs to the window with the city behind it, and I was able to adjust the exposure. I think we were wide open at T2.1. I don't think I had any ND on at all. And we were able to see, I was able to see, this is just me. I keep saying we, but really, it's just me. The city behind the interviews. And I'm going to show you like a bunch of clips here. You can just see, first of all, the clarity of the lens. Everybody's in really great focus. And at the same time, I keep talking about this creamy, sort of vintage documentary quality, and I say it in every video because it's true, and I don't talk about things that don't work, and I don't use products that don't work. It's not a product, it's a tool. Your lens is a tool, and how you use it obviously affects your movie, and you can have any camera you want, but it's really about the glass, and I keep saying that. So we got great interviews. You can see the videos. And then we kind of wrapped up the day. And that was here. Finishing up for the day. A great day. We got. I'm going to stop saying amazing because everything is amazing. It's amazing this, amazing that. We had really spectacular interviews today. We got Montana Tucker, who is just a colossal, amazing, stupendous influencer, Jewish, proud to be Jewish, has a huge following, talks about anti-Semitism. She's a real activist. Got her, she's supporting the film, so we're really happy about that. We got some amazing people from, I said amazing again, spectacular people, fantastic people, really well-spoken, not amazing, really great people. Well, some involved with the ADL, some people who are just here for the conference, but it's been great. Tomorrow, we are interviewing at 11:30 the president, whatever, the director of the ADL, Jonathan Greenblatt, who has agreed to support the film. I mean, we're here. We got all this access because the ADL is helping to support the film, but getting Jonathan Greenblatt in an exclusive interview is going to be, my eyes are going everywhere. It's going to be great. So we're looking forward to that, and some other pretty well-known people I'm going to try to grab tomorrow as well. It's great. It's well worth the day. It's going to be great for the film. And I ran into my old camp counselor. It's a very small world. Talking about tribe. But anyway, so that's it for day one. Keep shooting. Welcome to day 2 of the conference. I got here early, which is good. Yeah, it's good. I can set up. I swapped out the 35 to 105 for the 24 to 105 L series for all the B-roll behind-the-scenes stuff. We got a lot of stuff, good stuff happening today, including breakfast. I love breakfast. Breakfast is fun. I'm going to see breakfast in a second. But this is good. It's going to be a good day. But we're here. See, we got our sack, and it's going to be good. And what a breakfast it was. You can't have 2,000 Jews in one space and not have bagels and lox and cream cheese and all the good stuff. So now, if you're from New York, you know what we call a bagel with a schmear, with lox, a slice of tomato, a slice of Bermuda onion, and capers. We call it bagel all the way, or bagel with a schmear all the way. And they had that. And see, here's a picture of my breakfast before I ate it, because I had to send it to everybody that I knew, because they wouldn't believe it. So, good food. So I had my breakfast, and I got the camera all set up. And then I started my day, and I actually just walked around a bit, just shooting some B-roll with the 24 to 105. But you know what? It was kind of boring. There was just a lot of people. It was just a sea of people. So I'm not going to show you that. I might use it in the movie, I might not. But the more important aspect of that morning was that at 11:30, I was interviewing Jonathan Greenblatt, who is the director of the ADL. And he's a major figure in this world. And to get him to talk on camera, not off the record, but actually to get off the sort of, every organization has a message, and the person in charge is really responsible for that message. I actually got him to talk to me and actually answer questions that I needed answering for this film. And it was amazing, and he was gracious, and his participation is a major moment for this film. But also, they helped a lot, and ADL helped a lot. And, you know, it's a controversial organization for many people, and I understand that. They do good work. It's hard to be this big and not take heat from a lot of people, but you know what? Everybody does their part. So anyway, so day 2 was good, and at the end of the day, I was quite exhausted, and you can see that here. Outside Javits, waiting to go home. I got my V2. I got my sack on the other side, and I'm done for the day. This was a good event. As doc filmmaking goes, this was good. This was very, very good. And you'll see some of the footage when I put the video together. Keep shooting. the conference really was great, and I got a lot more stuff than I could have even hoped for. And the speakers were great, and there was a lot of great people there. Everything was everything was great. But one of the things that happened was, as I've been developing the film, this idea of the Jewish community as a tribe has been emerging, and I was able to walk around the conference and actually ask people what their idea of tribe was. Having that many people in one place really gave me some really great answers that are going to get peppered throughout the film. So that was great. That was a really good bonus. So after the conference, we were going to Canada not long after. And you know what's interesting about Canada, aside from it being north of here and populated with mostly really nice people, is that when you live down here and in New York, you know what you have to have to go to Canada? I'll give you a hint. It rhymes with massport. Yes, you have to have a passport. And so I have a passport. I use it all the time when I fly. And I knew that I needed to bring it with me to go to Canada. Now, our Canada plan, the family, was that the weekend before I was driving to Canada, we had to go out to Pennsylvania to help my in-laws pack up their house to move to Massachusetts. Now, they live in Lewisburg, which is a 4-hour drive from Brooklyn. It's not bad. So we drive out in 2 cars. In my car, I have all my camera gear, and so we go out as a family. And I'm gonna go to Canada from there because it's 2 hours shorter from Lewisburg to Toronto than Brooklyn to Toronto. So we get there on Saturday, and I'm packing up some boxes. And my wife says to me, "Do you have your passport?" And I look at her right in the face and right in the eye and say, "No, I do not have my passport." So I get in the car, drive 4 hours back to Brooklyn, get my passport, take a nap, take a shower, get back on the road, drive another 4 hours back to Pennsylvania. I get there in time for a late dinner, go to bed, wake up at like 6, get on the road at 7 to go to Toronto, and at which point I'm thinking, okay, I'm good. Now, I have not crossed the border in a very long time. The last time I went, I think I was 20, and my buddy and I were like going to Canada to get better beer, because at that time it was better beer. It might still be. And I didn't really know what to expect. And I know that I got all this camera gear in the car, and I know that, you know, there must be some rules about going and shooting in another country. I don't know. But I was staying with my friends, who I've been friends with for like 25 years. This person is like a sister to me. So it was not, you know, I wasn't visiting strangers, and I had their address and everything. So when I got to the border, there was nobody there. It was like empty. So I got right up to the booth, and the nice woman said to me, "Are you here for business or vacation?" And I said, "Well, it's kind of both. I'm visiting my friends up in Stayner." She didn't actually know where Stayner was. It's about an hour and 40 minutes north of Toronto. And she said, "Well, how do you know these people?" "Well, I've been friends with them for 25 years. They're like family." "Well, when was the last time you saw them?" I said, "Well, I haven't been up here in a very long time, but they came down to visit me last summer. They wanted to know about them, about me." And I said, "But also I'm coming to Canada because I'm a documentary filmmaker, and I'm doing a number of interviews down in Toronto." She said, "Well, are you bringing these people back to the United States?" I said, No. I'm filming them. We don't use shooting anymore, by the way. Filming them in a law office down in Toronto." And then she said, "Are you paying these people?" I said, No. We don't pay people. That's not ethical." And I actually had an interesting because there's nobody behind me. I had an interesting conversation with her about ethical filmmaking, which she enjoyed very much. She asked me to roll down the back window so she could look in, and she said, "Okay, on your way." So that was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. So crossing into Canada with camera gear, be honest, tell them where you're going, and apparently it's not that big of a deal. So I made it to my friends, and we were all set. And the guy that I was working with up in Canada, who is basically the president of the Alliance of Canadians Combating Anti-Semitism, set up like 10 interviews for me for the week. I was up there for like 9 days. So I didn't get as much BTS as I would have liked, but here it is. And here I am in Toronto. I'm here for about a week. I've been here for like 3 days now. I actually drove up. I'm getting great interviews. I'm actually in a law office in downtown Toronto, where they've graciously allowed me a space to do my interviews. You can see I did some B-roll, BTS of the space. You'll see it now. It's been great. The interviews have been amazing. And I keep saying amazing, but it's hard to not, there are very other few words to describe people who are very good at what they do and are very mindful of what they are talking about and are just so important to the story that we're trying to tell. And it's been great. Today I interviewed a woman who is not Jewish. She is Pakistani Muslim, practicing Muslim, who is the president of the largest Muslim Jewish Israel support group in Toronto, possibly in all of Canada. Her interview was amazing. She really, totally took apart the fake news, not uneducated, but the people who are basically being fooled by the Islamic militant, them telling truth and really, really, really taking apart the other side. She's amazing. She's a total force of nature, and she lent her voice to this film, so I couldn't be more happy. 4 more days in Toronto, and I'm driving home. I'll be home for a couple of days, and then more shooting, and then I'll be home for a couple of weeks, and then I will be out in LA the 3rd week of May. But yeah, that's all good. So I'm just finishing up a day's interview here in Toronto, and on Friday we're going to be handheld at a couple of synagogues. So I got my V2, I can see V2. It's all packed up with my camera and stuff for Friday, and everything is good. Everything is very good. Toronto is weird. It's cold and it's not cold, but it's been a good trip. And V2, yeah, there you go. Good shot. All right, anyways. Using the 7 Artisans lenses, they've been great. Use the 85 and the 35 today. So varying up the looks. They're amazing. And you'll see the footage when I get home. All right. Keep shooting. So Canada really was something. I got so much stuff, more than I thought I was going to get, but in a whole different way. I knew that I was going up there to do a lot of interviews, and that the level of anti-Semitism in Canada is pretty high. But I didn't realize how much different it is in Canada than it is in the United States. And I'm going to get into that in the film, so I'm not really going to get into it here. But the amount of the people that I interviewed from all different sort of socioeconomic, industry, teaching, law, medicine, all pretty much having the same story. And that's not good. But, we'll talk about it in the film. And that's what the film is about. So anyway, I came home, had a really quick turnaround, 2 days, and then I was off to Philadelphia to interview Ben Freeman, a very famous writer who's was the first one to really talk about the Jewish community as an indigenous people, and that fits right in with my idea of tribe for the film. So I went down and I interviewed him in his hotel room again, doing a lot of hotel room interviews on this film. And so I brought the 35 millimeter. Actually, I brought both my lenses, but I chose the 35 millimeter Infinite Prime by 7 Artisans. It was a small hotel. It was a nice hotel room, but it was small. So I moved Ben into the corner, and I set up the camera, and I used the small rig 120 by color with the dome, and a small little practical next to him, and that was it. You can see the BTS here. You can see the setup, and then here's the footage. And I gotta tell you, I have to stop saying I gotta tell you, but look at the footage. Beautiful. The lenses are great, and we'll talk about the lenses in a second. But every place we've gone so far, and I keep saying it: Michigan, Canada, Philadelphia, everything I shot here. These lenses have a character that I can only describe as vintage. It reminds me of the ingenue lenses that Albert Maysles and D.A. Pennebaker used on the Oricon 16 millimeter camera that Albert de-rigged from a giant camera to a handheld camera, and that's what they shot all their stuff on. And to me, this lens reminds me of that. It's creamy, but it's clean. The focus, by the way, the focus throw on this thing is so easy. There's no focus breathing at all. You just bang on that focus. Everything is right there. So, you know, I can talk about these lenses all day long. But this is what we're getting. So Philadelphia was great. Went home. The following Wednesday, I was invited to another conference. And for this conference, it was being held in a restaurant on top of a hotel in Midtown Manhattan. And I wanted to go run and gun on this. So, wait for it. Da, 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 da. I actually rented from Lens Pro to Go. We love Lens Pro to Go. They're there for all your lens rental needs, and these guys are hysterical. We'll talk about that in a second. But I rented the Laowa Ranger 75 to 180 zoom lens because I wanted to be able to just run and gun because there wasn't any place to really set up actual interviews. So as you can see in some of the footage here, I got the camera on the sack with the lens, and it worked perfectly. And here's some of the footage. It's beautiful, and it matches the Seven Artisans Infinite lenses perfectly, seamlessly. And again, I've not used a lot of cine zooms, but I've seen footage of cine zooms, and this Ranger cine zoom, it has got that vintage quality, that ingenue quality. And I remember Luke Forsythe had tested these lenses out a while back, and he was really impressed with them. I think he still uses them. So that was great for the conference. So I came home, I sent it back, and the thing about Lens Pro to Go is they send you everything that you need to send back the camera. The camera comes in a Pelican case in a box, and then they give you the label and they give you packing tape to pack it back up. And it is imperative that you read the packing tape. You know why? Because it has instructions on how to pack up the box. But more importantly, it tells you in very clearly that this tape is sticky. It's very sticky. Do not stick it to your cat. They will not be responsible if you stick it to your cat. They're amazing. So because of that, I have now rented for California because we're going to be doing some run and gun in some churches. There's going to be some museum stuff, and we'll talk about that. The 24 to 75 Ranger Zoom, Cine Zoom. And we're going to take that with us. I'm pretty sure I'm going to buy these lenses at some point, but now renting them from Lens Pro to Go is definitely the move. So that's what I'm going to do. So that's going to be great. And we're going out to California in 3 weeks, and we're going to have a lot more vlogging and interesting things happening out there. So we'll keep you amused. We're taking you with us. And that's kind of it. I think, we're really winding down principal photography after California. I've got some other stray interviews we need to do, but that's kind of it. And then once we hit post-production, we'll try to make that interesting and we'll bring you along with, because I really want you to see what a real independent documentary film, one-man band looks like going to PBS. The deliverables and all that stuff. It's pretty interesting. So there'll be more of that to come. Now, before we wrap up, as always, we need to talk about our partners, and because our partners rock. And so we'll, Seven Artisans, SAC, Follow Focus Gears, and let's just talk about them one at a time. Let's talk about Seven Artisans. We love Seven Artisans. And I've been working with them for a while now, and I was speaking to Nina. Hi, Nina. At Seven Artisans about where we're going to be shooting our interviews in California, in LA. We're going to be shooting in a museum, a really beautiful museum. And it occurred to me that really what I want to use for our sit-down interviews is the 24 millimeter Infinite Prime T2.1. And if you go back and you look at Outcast Nation, all of our sit-down interviews were shot with the 28 millimeter Canon FD 2.28 millimeter, 2.8, I believe. And I love that. I love that crunch. I love that sort of wide close up. And I set the camera up about maybe 3 or 4 feet from my subject, and it's beautiful. Nina agreed. So Nina will be sending me the 24 millimeter. We're going to bring that to California. So we'll have the 24, the 35, the 85. We'll have the zoom from the Ranger zoom, and we will be covered for the week that we're out there doing interviews, getting B-roll, all this stuff. Full toolkit of really good glass. So I'm really excited about that. So thank you, Seven Artisans, for partnering with us. Obviously, I can't say nothing about the lenses. Some kid asked me last week, about Seven Artisans, and I said, yes, you should be using Seven Artisan lenses. And honestly, if you're looking for affordable cine glass, you can't go wrong with Seven Artisans. Best customer service, as far as I'm concerned, in the lens world. So, and speaking about customer service, let's talk about our friends at SAC and Sydney, my good friend Sydney. So in the last video, I talked about our California trip and how we've been using the V2, which I just can't get enough of. But we've got a lot of stuff going out to California because we can't drive, we're flying. So I was thinking about going with a smaller bag for my camera, and Sydney suggested, and I was thinking at the same time because great minds think alike, the SAC Pack Cube, and this is a picture of it. And so we worked out a deal, and Sydney sent me the pack, and I dry ran with it yesterday down to New Jersey to do an interview with the amazing Darrell Horn, the author, and it was amazing. It was small, but it's got the same setup as the V2, just smaller. So I packed up my camera and everything I needed, that and my other box, drove down to New Jersey, got great interview, and the thing was so balanced, it was just like wearing a regular backpack. And it fits up in the overheads on the plane. So I'll be using it again this coming Thursday, doing another hotel interview. So we'll get a lot of BTS for that, because I'm going to do a separate video for the SAC Pack Cube. If I can just remember the name. Excuse me. But yes, so there'll be a separate video for that. 1 second. Mug. And that we'll get that out maybe next week. Once I get back from that trip, so we can get all that BTS of using the pack, and that's that. And then, of course, last but not least, our friends down at Follow Focus Gears, Sean. And as I've been saying, you've got all these new lenses coming out, all autofocus and all this stuff, but you are a documentary filmmaker. You should not be using autofocus. You should be manual focusing and manual exposing. Why? Because what will happen to you, as happened to me when I was down in D.C., interviewing the amazing Congressman Jared Huffman, and he's going after the other side, and the lens is going, wasn't good. And it's going to happen to you, I promise. Learn how to manual focus, learn how to manual expose, and you'll be happy all your days, because you will not have that problem. So what do you need for good manual focus? Follow Focus Gears, yay! And Sean, of course, makes the best Follow Focus Gears, and he makes them for every lens, any kind of lens that is invented or not invented. He will make them for you, because that is what he does. So, also, he is building a brick and mortar down in Atlanta, so he's going to have a full machine shop down there. So he needs money. Get those rings, get those step-up rings, get those caps. Get them from Sean. And, when the holidays are coming, you can use them as Christmas ornaments. Follow Focus Gears, 10% off on all things Follow Focus Gears. And, give the man your money, because he needs it. And that's it. Not too long of a video. Maybe it is a long video. I don't look. But the name of the movie is After Never Again. It will be out on PBS, hopefully in December. And you can go to the website, www.realbrooklynfilms.net, charlierbfnyc@gmail.com. Please give it a thumbs up. Please like it. and do all these things. And if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. Tell your friends. We just went past 600 subscribers, so thank you very much. Tell them about the crazy guy who just rambles and rambles on about documentary filmmaking. And as always, keep shooting.